I gotta tell ya, we the American people have just been screwed over and betrayed by Congress. Literally, in the middle of the night at 1:30 in the morning, I believe on Tuesday, they introduced a grossly overinflated omnibus bill to the tune of $1.7 trillion. And hey, by the way, it's 4,155 pages long, and you've got 24 hours to process this thing. Have a nice day. I am so sick and tired of any bills being allowed to be put forward to Congress without the ability to read it. Nothing, absolutely nothing should be passed ever when they cannot read a bill. And when you guys figure out what's inside this thing, and that's the even more chilling part, you're going to realize how betrayed you really are, because what's going to happen to America? Well, we could very likely go bankrupt. And guess what? You and I are going to be hit with more massive inflation. I don't know about you, but I can't handle it anymore. Families are hurting, and more of the middle class is shrinking, and we're all becoming this poor level nature. At the cost, at our own detriment, our money is being used wastefully and stupidly in this $1 trillion bill. I've got so much to share with you, but as a reminder, get to restrictedrepublic.com. I started this because of all the censorship, all the crap that's being done by our congressional leaders, the executive office, and all of that. And quite frankly, they're trying to silence us into oblivion and censor everything we're saying. And by the way, I'm putting out a major report today on Restricted Republic. Use the coupon code Christmas22 to get it for $3.99 per month for the entire first year. That is going to end on Christmas Day. So please take advantage of that limited time offer. And anyhow, so let's dive into this $1.7 trillion bloated omnibus bill that's 4,100 some odd pages long that they expect the Senate and the House to pass with no questions asked, regardless of the fact that they were supposed to have this bill done by September 30th. However, that wasn't done. They were granted a 90-day extension. Come 90 days later, still no bill. And then they wanted another week after that. They got another week after that. And lo and behold, here we are in Christmas week. And they come out at 1:30 in the morning with this bill, which, by the way, let me show you my favorite man here, Rand Paul, my favorite senator. And he's got the bill right there in his hand. And they say, hey, now you have 24 hours to process this entire bill. And if you don't, we're going to blame it on the GOP. You know what I have to say to that? How about a family-friendly middle finger, if you get my drift? But here is the thing. You're literally getting screwed over in this bill. You really are. To give them 24 hours to read a bill is impossible. You can't read it. So who knows what's all in this bill until somebody actually reads it. It really ticks me off that we actually need to make a law stating that bills cannot be passed unless they are read. I think it's common sense, but hey, we actually have to have a law about this. It's sick. No one should pass a bill that they haven't read. Yet, here we are in Congress saying, well, the government's going to shut down, which is unfortunate, but it's not our fault. It's the Democrats' fault who didn't put it together back on September 30th. It has to be read, and it should be read, but our leaders are not doing that. In fact, we're being betrayed by some Republicans. But I want you to listen to the words that Rand Paul said about this bill. Take a listen.
I brought with me the Omni, 4,155 pages. When was it produced? In the dead of the night, 1:30 in the morning when it was released. But what's the clamor? The clamor is to vote. Vote now. Let's get it done. Why are you standing in the way of spending? Well, the real question is this. What is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to the country? $1.1 trillion in new debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a big win. We're getting $45 billion for the military. So which is more important? Which threatens the country more? Are we at risk for being invaded by a foreign power if we don't put $45 billion into the military? Or are we more at risk by adding to a $31 trillion debt? I think the greatest risk to our national security is our debt. The process stinks. It's an abomination. It's a no-good, rotten way to run your government. $6 trillion entity, and they want 24 hours to process this. and then they want to go forward. The American people don't want this. They're sick and tired of it. They're paying for it through the nose with inflation. Adding $1 trillion to the deficit will simply fuel the fires that are consuming our wages and consuming our retirement plans. It's a terrible system. Someone needs to stand up. We're standing up, and we're going to say no.
He's not wrong. We're about to see inflation unlike we have ever seen before. No joke. It's not even funny. I don't know about you guys, but hey, all American families that I know are hurting right now. If you add that right now, we can't handle it. In fact, there was a survey put out by Elon Musk, right, on Twitter, asking people if they wanted Congress to pass this bill. And actually, even the trolls, a lot of lefties said no. Take a look. I was very surprised. And I think it's still ongoing, but 6 hours left. This is a pretty good, it could flex maybe 20% at the most. But you could see a majority of people, 71.9% said no. That's out of 2,703,000 voters. Both Democrats and Republicans don't want this pork inflated, oversized omnibus bill because they know it's going to come back to haunt us in inflation. And Ron Paul's not wrong. He said, hello, debt. This $1 trillion deficit is the greatest risk to our national security. And I don't think he's wrong. But you know what really irks me is that he predicted that the Democrats would do exactly what happened with this omnibus bill. He very clearly stated that they would pull this out last minute in an attempt to get them to pass it in a short amount of time. Take a listen.
Mark my words, December 16th, December 18th, we're going to get a 3,000-page bill that'll have been given to us an hour or two before. I know, because this is the way it works every year. No one will read it. No one will know what it is. But what is a guarantee is that it'll add over $1 trillion in debt next year.
Wow, you hit the nail on the head. And you know what? Every single year. And by the way, Chucky Schumer, who I can't stand the guy. However, when he was confronted by a reporter in a briefing about that very issue, here's what he had to say. Take a listen to this clip.
How is it in a functional process to drop a 4,100-page bill this morning, expect to vote on it tomorrow? Well, most of Congress hasn't had a chance to review this.
Look, the bill has been carefully worked on by the Appropriations Committee for a very, very long time. Most of the provisions of the bill were well known weeks and weeks and weeks in advance.
There it is. Schumer doesn't care if they have enough time to read the bill or not, because he doesn't want them to read it. He doesn't want them to know what's in this bill, you or anyone, because they knew some of it, wink and a nod, ahead of time, possibly, potentially. I mean, even the reporter there called him out on it. Hey, we're not getting the time to read this. Now what? You want to know what's in it? I'm going to show you, because there's one representative, U.S. congressman representing the 9th District of North Carolina, actually went through some of it, still diving through it, because there's a lot to go through in 24 hours. And here's some of the stuff that he found. You guys are going to be ticked. Here's one of the biggest things. This particular omnibus bill, and he says, here's what he says. Before I get into it, my team and I are reading through the omnibus bill today, all 1.7 trillion and 4,155 pages. Here is the most erroneous provisions of the bill, and this goes on for a long time. I'm going to try to hit some of the top ones here, but here it is. It expressly prohibits CBP funding from being used to improve the border, and here it is, to acquire, maintain, or extend border security technology and capabilities, except for technology and capabilities to improve border patrol processing. What that actually means is that would bar Customs and Border Protection, CBP, right, bar their funding from going towards border security, even as they see skyrocketing number of illegals coming across the border. Wait now, I thought they wanted to protect us. And well, according to Miss Guerriere-Pierre, there, the press secretary, KJP, she says that they are. Well, apparently not. You just barred CBP funding from going towards border security. Now it can just go towards, processing, just towards processing. What else is in this bill? Let me go through a few here. It allocates $410 million, however, for border security for other countries. We can't protect our own border, but hey, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, and Oman, we can help the borders of all these other countries, just not our own. Then it goes on, and $1,438 million for membership to global organizations, like the United Nations. Not just that, $65 million for salmon. Yes, you heard that right. $3 million for bee-friendly highways. Then we also have another fish fill left out of the spending here, $65.7 million for international fisheries. I mean, let's just be frank here. We don't have the money to be putting towards bees and fisheries and all these stupid things that they're putting it towards, and yet we're still doing it. We're in debt. We're in deficit. Why don't we do the bare minimum that we need to do? But hey, let's go on their little list here, because there's lots of little goodies in here. We have $575 million for family planning in areas where population growth threatens biodiversity. I mean, what? That shouldn't even be in a federal program, yet here we are. Get rid of that, right? Get rid of that too. $65 million in 2 programs for Senator LaHaye and a federal building named for Nancy Pelosi. $65 million to name something after Nancy Pelosi? No, out of the spending bill. Then here are just a couple of earmarks you guys can go through. $477,000 for anti-racist training from the Equity Institute. Scratch that. $3 million for LGBTQ Museum in New York City. Scratch that. State can handle it if they want to handle that, but we don't have the money right now for any of this. $1.2 million for services for DACA recipients. Scratch that. $4.1 million in various career programs for one of the richest countries in the U.S. Scratch that as well. Stupid spending. And of course, $47 billion in Ukraine. Funding isn't enough for you. The bill also authorizes a Ukrainian independent park. So on top of giving Ukraine $47 billion, we don't have it, don't give it. They're also going to make a park right in D.C. Then they're also spending money to rename 25 post offices. Yes, you heard that right. $524 million for DEI and structural racism. Wow, get that out of there. Then we also have gender programs in Pakistan, no joke, and $200 million for Gender Equity Fund. Why are we funding stuff in Pakistan? Just a question. But it goes on and on and on. They also have, and this one's chilling, by the way, $335 million to prepare for an influenza pandemic. Oh, including the use of surveillance tools, so they can monitor you 24/7. $7.5 million to better understand domestic radicalization. Oh, and this one's a doozy. $11.3 billion for the FBI, who should be disbanded for spying and telling big tech agencies to censor American citizens, yet we're going to give them $11.33 billion. Go away. They just created and partook in some of the biggest crimes in United States history, yet we're going to give them $11.33. You know what message that sends to the FBI? Hey, FBI, wink and a nod. Keep doing what you're doing. Even Republicans are signing on to this bill. But that's not all. If you look down here, $2.63 billion for U.S. attorneys with an emphasis on J6 prosecutions and domestic terrorist cases. No kidding. Get rid of all of that. Get rid of that. Jeez, it goes on and on here. Millions for Planned Parenthood, $2.86 million. If we don't have it, we don't give it. That's it. We don't give it. We don't give it. And there you have it. So lots of other things here that you can see in the bill. And he's still going through this as well. So lots of information to see. But as you can see, they're screwing over the American people. And you want to know the Republicans that at least voted to advance it in Senate. You need to get these voted out of office. And you need to send them messages if you're in one of their states. But GOP's in favor. And I'm not going to call all their names. You can see the list, but you can see some of the typicals there, like your Romney, Grahams, by the way, they're on there. So even Rubio is on there, by the way, which really chills me to the core. He's like left and right all the time. He always goes back and forth. But it's just really chilling to see this happening to our country, and there's no rhyme or reason. The American people are getting screwed over. It's coming out in the Twitter files, and they're going to fund the FBI even more. We have congressional leaders out in the open voting to advance this thing without even having read it. No rhyme or reason. Then we have Congress acting like it's okay for them to give 24 hours to process a bill, and if not, it's your fault if government shuts down. That's not the way. That's not the way it's supposed to work. I don't think these extensions should be granted. I think people should be fired if they don't do what they're supposed to do in Congress. But unfortunately, we're living under tyranny. It makes me sick to my stomach. Anyhow, with that, please don't forget to check out my partner at ketowithlisa.com. If you guys really haven't tried this, I really want to encourage you to do so. They've got lots of great information about how this is good for your metabolism, for your body, and how you don't really want to, remove all of the favorite things from your diet. But what this keto formula does is it really gives you that keto diet without going on the keto diet. And this is something that I've personally tried and done myself. I have lost weight through it as well. I just want to let you guys know that. But it's a 60-day money-back guarantee, and I'll scroll down to that part. So if you don't like it, you can send the bag back empty. And they'll refund your money, but it's amazing, and it definitely helps give you energy as well. And here it is, their 60-day money-back guarantee. But check it out at ketowithlisa.com. And if you want more information, it's found in the description box below. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.